Let's welcome in our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones here. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. What is the latest when it comes to this injury in him?
So he's going to have surgery on Monday, and then they will have a time frame after
Gotcha.
that. So I know on Sunday night after it came out that it was going to be 6 to 8 weeks. It may very well be 6 to 8 weeks. He may, be Superman and come back in 5. It may take a little while longer once they get in there. And so right now, I am comfortable saying that he's going to miss several weeks, that he will be placed on short-term IR, that the team will move forward with Cooper Rush, that they will certainly evaluate him at certain mile markers throughout these next 2, 4, 5 weeks, and then sort of make a determination. But no question about it, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be without Dak Prescott for some time, certainly a very important part of their season here as they're trying to launch and relaunch after last season and their failed playoff performance.
JJ, I was listening to Pete Prisco this morning, and he said, in his opinion, he didn't feel like the Cowboys were prepared for this. If they were to lose Dak Prescott, having Cooper Rush there, are they looking like they're going to stick with him or potentially look elsewhere?
Yeah, I respect what Pete's saying. I mean, there's a lot of teams with top 10 quarterbacks who aren't prepared for their quarterback to go down, and that they're able to float it for 6, 8 games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not. The Green Bay Packers probably are not, even though they drafted Jordan Love a couple of years ago. And so that's the way that this team was going to be built, that hopefully Dak Prescott had his injuries out of the way. That's why you guarantee him the money that you did, and averaging $40 million plus per year on a contract. You don't really want to devote too much more money to the quarterback position. Now, I know they made a whole lot of waves back during roster cuts when they only had Dak Prescott as the only quarterback on the depth chart. Of course, they brought back Cooper Rush, brought him onto the active roster. They have Will Greer, number 3, down on the practice squad, and those guys will move up and down as need be. And of course, now you have Cooper Rush, who was active last night, who had the win last year against Minnesota, and he will be the starting quarterback moving forward. Do the Dallas Cowboys feel super comfortable and confident that they can be a playoff team led by Cooper Rush throughout the whole season? No, I can't imagine that they will, but you look at that schedule right there and you say, okay, Cooper, you beat we won against the Minnesota Vikings last year with you. So the Bengals, that'll be a tough one. The Giants, all right. The Commanders, okay. The Rams, we're going to see what the Rams look like a month from now. And then anything happens in the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles. And so do they believe that Cooper Rush can come in and be a Nick Foles-like player for them like he was for the Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago? We're going to find out, wait and see. But as far as Will Greer, a young guy, hasn't really gotten his shots ever since he did get his shot with the Carolina Panthers, and he clearly was not ready out there on the football field. But as it stands right now, it certainly seems like the Dallas Cowboys are going to move forward with Cooper Rush.
So that is the quarterback situation for the Dallas Cowboys. That is by far not the only issue that they're dealing with. More penalties than points than they had last night. JJ, this is a team some people were looking and making a serious postseason run. So looking at that first game, including the penalties, what are some things that the Cowboys are looking to clean up?
Well, I mean, they may very well want to enhance themselves at quarterback if they decide ultimately that Cooper Rush is not going to be that guy. And so they could look outside of the building once Dak Prescott has that thumb surgery and they determine that, hey, maybe we need to go out and trade for, say, an Andy Dalton who was with Dallas and knows the system a little bit. Maybe a Nick Foles who was, he had a jersey yesterday but didn't actually play in that game for the Indianapolis Colts. You can make a trade for a guy like that. Would you make a trade for a Jimmy Garoppolo? Not entirely sure that the Dallas Cowboys, that it would be within their best interest to do that, or a Mason Rudolph necessarily. But elsewhere, along the offensive line, is Tyler Smith going to be the left tackle of the future for the Dallas Cowboys? Yes, he is. Is he the left tackle today? Is he doing a good enough job today? Unfortunately, last night he did not. And you look at the left guard, who allowed a number of pressures and hurries as well. They can't wait for Jason Peters to get ramped up so that they can bring him, the 40-year-old future Hall of Famer, off of the practice squad and fill in for Tyron Smith, and then move Tyler Smith to that more comfortable guard position. The offensive line filled with errors, and then you have an offense that was filled with penalties. We're talking about the most penalized team in the entire NFL last season, the Dallas Cowboys. Well, as we are about to wrap up week 1 here, only 2 teams had more penalties in week 1 than the Dallas Cowboys, who had 10. They had 8 offensive penalties, the most offensive penalties of any team so far in week 1. And of course, they're still struggling at wide receiver, where they have CeeDee Lamb, who struggled with his connection with Dak Prescott. Michael Gallup still recovering from that ACL. Jalen Tolbert, who was a 3rd-round pick, he was making some noise there over the summer. He was a healthy scratch yesterday. At least there is the defense. At least, Amanda, there is Micah Parsons for this Dallas Cowboys team that could keep them in any game, as we saw as they faced off against a GOAT and a Tampa Bay team that, historically at least, as Tom Brady has been there, had only won 1 game before where they had scored fewer than 24 points.
JJ, let's talk about Mike McCarthy here, entering his 3rd season as the head coach of the Cowboys. Now his 3rd time to begin his season 0-1. That is one thing there, but his seat was already warm, giving his performances over the past couple seasons with the Cowboys. Now he has lost his quarterback for the foreseeable future. What does the future of Mike McCarthy look like right now?
Well, it's up to Mike McCarthy. It's up to what this Dallas Cowboys group is going to be able to do without Dak Prescott. And it's ultimately up to Jerry Jones, right? And Jerry has made it very clear when they got to Oxnard, California at the start of training camp, and sort of he seemed to enjoy a little bit making Mike McCarthy know that his seat was warm. And of course, the rumors of Sean Payton, currently a coaching free agent, will will continue to persist with every mounting loss for the Dallas Cowboys. I talked with Mike McCarthy before the season out in training camp about the pressure of being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I said, hey, I know that you've been the head coach of an incredible franchise in the Green Bay Packers, but this is different. He said, yeah, and he quoted Billie Jean King, and that pressure is a privilege. He said pressure is a blessing, and that he embraced it. Well, here's the pressure at 0-1 yet again. Now he's down his starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, yet again. Having some trouble with discipline along the offensive line and injuries, having some injuries at wide receiver. It's going to be a tough road right now for the Dallas Cowboys.
Everything is bigger in Texas, including the drama in Dallas. Let's talk about TJ Watt. Big blow there to his team, but you tweeted out just a little bit ago there is some optimism right now in Pittsburgh, maybe not a full pec tear. What's the latest that you're hearing regarding TJ Watt?
Yes, so we're still trying to figure it out. We saw every amateur lip reader who was out there saw TJ Watt right after the play against Cincinnati on Sunday afternoon say, I tore my pec. Well, that is not extremely clear right now. There is optimism with folks that I speak to, optimism coming out of Pittsburgh that it is not a full pec tear. If it is not, then certainly a return this season is very much in play. If it is, it's going to require surgery. It's going to mean that he's going to be out a substantial amount of time with maybe a return in the postseason. So obviously Pittsburgh Steelers fans, football fans everywhere, we are all hoping that it is less severe than what TJ Watt thought it was the moments after it happened. There is some optimism right now. I'm still awaiting word from the team, and so we certainly will see. If it is not TJ Watt, which no matter what the news really is in the realm of possibility, it won't be TJ Watt the next 3-4 weeks at the very least. The Steelers are going to be turning to Malik Reed. They acquired him in late August in a trade with the Denver Broncos. They'll probably scour the waiver wire, those who are out in free agency. They like what they've gotten out of Alex Highsmith, the young outside linebacker opposite TJ Watt. So still a lot of breath to be held in Pittsburgh right now. Some optimism, but stay tuned.
JJ, we appreciate it. Lead NFL insider for CBS Sports, Jonathan Jones there. Check out his social media pages for a lot of those tweets where, of course, you'll put your latest information. Also, you can check out his notebook, his insider notebook on CBSSports.com. There you see some of the topics, what JJ is hearing regarding these things. Check it out on CBSSports.com. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.